Okay, so we're looking at problem 11.3.19, and so we're comparing two means together. In this case, a random sample of 40 adults with no children under 18. They were looking at how much leisure time they have, and so we have two groups of those with no children and then those with children, and so you end up with a mean amount of leisure time. So I guess the idea is we want to compare, do people with children have less time, or is there a different amount from those who have children than those who don't? And so you sample those two groups. There's only 40, and again, we run after we have a sample, we have to run hypothesis tests because we're really interested in the populations, and we want to know, are the populations of people with no children and children different? And we use the sample to help estimate that. And so in this case, instead of running a hypothesis test, we're going to do a confidence interval where we look at the difference between those two means. And so that's what we're looking for here. And so to do that, again, you're going to open StatCrunch. And then within StatCrunch, in this case, since they're means, we have to do a t-stats, because these are t, the critical values are t. And the confidence interval goes back to chapter 9. And we have the summary data. And so now with that information that we have, if I can go back to it, one of them is 5.23. And the standard deviation is 2.46, and then a random sample of 40, compared to those that have children, 4.02, standard deviation 1.56, and 40. And instead of running a hypothesis test, we're going to do a 95% confidence interval, finding out what is the difference between those. What's our best estimate for the difference between those two groups? Compute. And so you end up with those numbers. There's 0.29 and 2.13, which is, I think, what we get here, those answers there. So all we know is that we're 95% confident that the difference between these two groups is between 0.29 hours and 2.2 hours. Since it does not include 0, we would say there is a difference between those two groups because the confidence interval does not contain 0. If it had 0, that would mean that it's potentially that difference. There is no difference because those would be the same if the difference is 0. And so that's why we say there is 95% confidence to conclude that there is a difference, and that's because these numbers are from 0.29 to 2.13.